What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys could probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. So we got that Representative Ilhan Omar getting herself into even more trouble after taking it over to CBS and directing even more threats to President Donald Trump, guys. And I'm excited to get into this one. So when I'm straight into it, all I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Everybody knows I came to the United States at the age of 12, gained my citizenship at the age of 17, and I am an elected representative in the House of Congress, and so the House of Representatives in Congress. And so for me, you know, I look at it as a display of his ignorance, and I see it as a national embarrassment that he continues to say those kind of things, even though he does know what the truth is.
All right, folks, and I'm not sure when that Somalian representative Ilhan Omar will realize that antagonizing President Donald Trump is not going to make this whole thing go away. Sending threats to President Donald Trump, his administration, is not going to do anything but make matters worse for herself. But I will say she was correct on one thing, and that's President Donald Trump and everyone else knowing the truth and the facts of the matter when it comes to her participation in the widespread Somalian fraud throughout her state and her immigration fraud, getting her brother into this country illegally by marrying him. And now we have the Trump administration quickly jumping in, as we have border czar Tom Homan in an interview Monday night on Newsmax saying that he has already asked for the immigration records of Representative Ilhan Omar to be pulled for his review over allegations of the Somalian refugee marrying her brother to help him gain residency. You guys have to check this one out. He absolutely exposed her, and they're going to get to the bottom of this. She will be prosecuted and most likely removed from Congress and is sent back to where she so much loves.
The border czar Tom Homan joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitation became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut.
I'm going to say this, and I believe a lot of you out there feel the same way. This whole thing with the Somalian fraudsters, that Representative Ilhan Omar has gone too far. I mean, she's been practically daring President Donald Trump, his administration, to take action, to actually do something about the widespread fraud, that being the Somalian fraud that we discovered throughout the state of Minnesota, or her immigration fraud. It's about time that we draw that line in the sand and say, hey, enough is enough. But it looks like President Donald Trump, his administration is actually working diligently diligently on this case, as we now have the White House with a new scathing report. This one from Eric Daugherty here on X. It says, holy crap, the White House just posted proof that Ilhan Omar married her brother. Tom Homan said the federal government is now investigating. She must be deported. She committed immigration fraud. Their story proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Omar married her brother for some fraudulent purpose. It's coming from the Free Beacon. So we can see here in the new report that the White House is not leaving out any details. We now have access to the marriage license application that was used to commit this immigration fraud for her brother, and it clearly shows that she was married to someone else and then married her brother. I mean, you cannot do that. That should be an automatic forfeiture of her citizenship within this country. And it's all right there. We have all the details that we need to go ahead and prosecute her. At the least, remove her from Congress. She should not be representing any area in the United States of America. And we see where her true allegiance lies. And it's not with the citizens of the United States of America. It's with all these Somalian refugees and these folks that aren't even supposed to be in our country. I'm tired of it. Enough is enough. We also had Benny Johnson touching on this one, saying the Republican congressman predicts that Trump administration will now start arresting and deporting Ilhan Omar and the Somalians for her marrying her brother and their widespread fraud. You guys have to check this one out.
Yeah, I hope that happens. And the great thing about immigration fraud is, if this is all true, which it clearly is, I mean, this has been something that's been rumored for years, and we finally have an administration that's investigating immigration fraud. And how poetic will it be if Ilhan Omar actually defrauded the United States in her way to become a citizen, and as serving as a member of Congress. The great part of this from the administration standpoint is, if she committed immigration fraud, they can deport her. So yes, there are criminal penalties for defrauding the United States and participating in immigration fraud. But the great part of that is, if she committed fraud to get into the country, then she's not legally able to be in the country, and the United States of America can quickly deport her back to Somalia. And then obviously that seat will be vacant. But that's the great part about this, is the administration, once they have found that she did in fact commit immigration fraud, they can arrest her and have her deported because she is not legally in the country.
What would that look like? Would it effectively look like a DNA test? I guess you'd have to have something, they have plenty of corroborating evidence that comes through the marriage document and marriage certificate. Yeah. And then also Somali community members saying this is obviously the same family.
I mean, I don't even think if you have the marriage licenses and you can prove that that's her brother, I don't even think you need DNA tests. If the paper, you have to file a marriage license. Obviously, they can track down who this person is and who she is and how they came into the country. I think it would actually be pretty easy to prove that they committed fraud to get into the country, and then therefore she is not legally here in our country, and therefore she can be deported immediately. And I would imagine Homan, because he has stated that they're going to investigate this, I would imagine this is the top of his pile of immigration fraud.
This thing is getting serious very quick, and that's because of the behavior coming from that Somalian representative, Ilhan Omar, the way that she's toying around and kind of pressuring the Trump administration to finally do something. And we got all the evidence we need. There's overwhelming amount of evidence right there that points to her fraudulent activities, not only with this whole immigration fraud thing, but also with the Somalian fraudsters of Minnesota. Now it's time to do something. But I want to flip over to a TikToker who provides a little bit of clarity on this situation with Ilhan Omar marrying her brother. She says that unfortunately we will not be able to prosecute and deport her based on those claims and evidence that we found due to the statute of limitations, but there is something else that she can be prosecuted for. You guys have to take a look at this one.
Okay, so Ilhan Omar actually did marry her brother, and there's some pretty good gossip around it. So for the first time, we have had someone who knows the family come out and speak about this and confirm what everyone knows to be the truth. She married her brother to get him immigration papers. So she married her first husband in a mosque. It was like a conjoining of two large Muslim Minneapolis clans. It was very well celebrated, and there were about 100 to 150 people at the wedding. They did not marry legally through the courts. So she claims that her and her first husband were separated in 2008, and she married her brother in 2009. He ended up in Minneapolis because he was very feminine, and that wasn't okay with her family in England. So they sent him to Minneapolis for rehab to stop being so feminine. And people in the Somali community in Minneapolis started noticing that Ilhan and her first husband started hanging out with this like feminine young guy. And there were all these whispers, gossip about him. And apparently she told people that she needed to get papers for her brother for him to start at North Dakota State University. And they were married in a Christian church because none of the mosques would do it because everyone knew that they were siblings. So everyone like refused to marry siblings. But they claimed that their paperwork got devastated in war in Somalia because it's like a shithole. And there's no way to prove the documentation that they are actually siblings. I mean, of course we could prove it. It's a simple DNA test. Anyway, when she married her brother, no one knew about it. They only found out when the papers reported on it years later. So they married in 2009, and then she divorced her brother in 2017 and then remarried her first husband. AKA, they never parted. She also had a child from her first husband while she was still legally married to her brother. Because, again, they were never separated. So this might be the first of many voices in the Somali community that come out and speak about her fraudulent marriage. If so, and she's found guilty of this, bye. We won't miss you.
Wow, folks, this is groundbreaking here. Coming from Avery Day here on X. Check her out. She says, a longtime personal friend of Ilhan Omar's family, this is Abdi Hakim Osman, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, has come forward publicly for the first time directly stating that Omar married her brother, Ahmed Nursaid Almi, in 2009 to help him obtain U.S. immigration benefits, all while being married to her first husband, who she had a child with while she was married to her brother. This story right here is just so convoluted. It's all over the place. It's hard to wrap your mind around when you're not used to the concept of someone marrying their own sibling. I mean, that right there is enough to go ahead and send her back. I've seen enough. The evidence is all right there. All the signs, it points straight to immigration fraud, and it's time to finally do something about it. We can't continue to just talk about it and say, hey, you're going to be sent back. There's investigation on the way. I feel like as an outsider looking in, I can see all the evidence right there in front of us, and all I do is search my sources throughout the web, and I know I've seen enough evidence to go ahead and prosecute this. It's time for the Trump administration to go ahead and stamp it, go ahead, prosecute, and bring her in front of a judge, because we cannot continue to allow this to be the case. Because if Ilhan Omar, this is supposed to be someone in Democratic leadership in Congress, is doing this, you can only imagine who else is doing it. I mean, she's setting the tone, setting the precedent for others to come behind her and do this so well. That's how all these Somalian refugees are now, quote unquote, illegal. How are they legal in the United States? It's because they're doing just that. One person is getting a citizenship, and then they're sending a boat of other folks to come over and saying, hey, we're going to get married, and I'm going to get you a citizenship within the United States of America. And then the cycle just continues to go on with all these fraudulent marriages and folks getting into our country, gaining citizenship illegally. And folks, that's not all. I hate to report it, but that is not all. You have to check out this one as well.
Meanwhile, federal records reveal Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's husband got more than $600,000 in coronavirus relief money for his political consulting firm, on top of the millions that his company received from her election campaign. Charles Payne is host of Making Money on the Fox Business Network. He joins us now. Charles, you'll have to explain this one to me. We'll put it up on the screen. This is the E Street Group receiving in total $634,900 in funds. PPP, $134,000 of that. Disaster loans, $500,000. Why?
The big knock against the whole PPP program was that 1% of the recipients got 25% of the money, and often they were very well connected, very rich people or organizations, and there's no doubt that's true. There was a sort of sense of urgency, though, to get the money out, hoping that if there were flaws, at least it would help the most the ones who were in the most dire need of the cash. And a lot of it did. They're going to have another chance to do it again, and probably be more tailored or more specific. But this just kind of speaks to sort of these insiders who have the ability to take advantage of these sort of things all the time. And then, of course, this particular group of people, it's so bad in the sense that, Sandra, they're always knocking everything, right? They knocked everything that President Trump did. They always knock America. They always talk about how unfair everything is. And here they are feeding at the trough when other people really needed this money more desperately because they knew how to get it, so they did.
That firm was also paid more than $2 million since the start of the year, Charles, from Omar's campaign for digital advertising, fundraising, consulting, website production. She announced last month, I should mention, in November, that her campaign was terminating its contract with that firm because of all the scrutiny that she was receiving over those payments.
Yeah, but no money's going to be returned. I mean, listen, services were delivered, but this is something people were talking about, this cozy relationship, long before November. She had a chance to take care of it then. She did not. It was too much money, millions of dollars. It was too much to ignore. They took it. They'll take a little bit of scrutiny. It won't be a lot. The media will not focus on it. It will go away. But the bottom line is America's distrust in the public, America's distrust in media. This is why both are in free fall.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness, we're seeing the situation is spiraling out of control when it comes to that Somali representative Ilhan Omar. She's doing a little dance in front of President Donald Trump's face to say that he's not going to touch her. She's untouchable, essentially saying that she's above the law in a sense, when all the evidence points to her committing widespread fraud, contributing to that fraud throughout her state, alongside her personal affairs behind the scenes, marrying her brother in order to get him citizenship within the United States of America. We cannot, and I can't stress this enough, we cannot not take this seriously. We have to act fast, or else folks are going to just look at this and be like, okay, this is the tone that's been set. The Trump administration is lenient on fraud, especially immigration fraud. When it comes to folks in leadership, these folks are really believing that they're above the law right now, and it's up for President Donald Trump, Borders Tom Home, and his officials to finally draw that line and say, hey, you guys are not going to come over to our country and try to abuse our systems, America's systems, and get over on American taxpayers. This is just not what I envision at all. And I voted for truth and transparency. Also, folks being held accountable. I mean, I love the truth. I love the transparency and all this evidence and information that is right there in front of us now, that we don't have them suppressed in the media, but we need to go on to that next step, which is accountability. Start dragging these folks, these crooks, in front of a judge. Prosecute them to the highest degree. I'm not sure what are we dragging our feet about. There's no reason for us to. There's no hold up. All the evidence is right there. We don't need more investigation. I think we've got enough to prosecute right here. At least start at Ilhan Omar. I feel like a lot of you feel the same. My vote went to truth and transparency, but I also want to see some accountability on their part, guys. And I'll continue to follow any updates to come with Representative Ilhan Omar, but it looks like the Trump administration is hot on her trail. She's not going to get away with this one. I can tell you that right now. Guys, definitely hop in the comments section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this one, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on me today. I feel like we don't give enough updates. Let you guys into my personal life. On Saturday last weekend, I actually did graduate from Indiana Wesleyan University with my bachelor's degree in information technology, computer science. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that degree yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I really do love, getting on here, bringing you guys the truth, a little bit of transparency every single day, give you guys insights into what's going on around our nation and also in the world. To be honest, I cover just about anything from someone falling off their bike to someone committing widespread fraud, stealing over $500,000 in COVID relief funds. With Ilhan Omar and her husband. If she was doing that back in COVID, just imagine what she was doing. And that's why I say she played a role in the widespread Somalian fraud that's been discovered throughout the state of Minnesota, because we discovered that COVID relief fund fraud from her husband way back when nothing was done about it. I mean, there is so many offenses, criminal offenses that she could be prosecuted for, but no one's doing anything. And that really grinds my gears. So that's why I stay so, pursuant on these criminal charges. This is why I stay on here on YouTube every single day and try to bring you guys the news, because I'm very passionate about the truth and folks actually being held accountable for their actions. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little update on my life right now. Currently celebrating, had a lot of celebrations over the weekend. It was a lot of long nights, to tell you that right now, restless, sleepless nights, all to have to turn around and get up, go to work in the morning, and then to come home and do it all again, record videos, doing research, finding more information, more stories for you guys. I love to cover the best scoops right here with your boy RetroStef, guys. But definitely make sure you guys hit that like button before you get out of here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd enjoy more content like this. Also, let me know that you guys stayed to the end if you made it this far, but I'll catch you guys on the next one.